Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to this pregnancy Q&A. Go ahead, click pause and go grab some coffee, some tea. I'm going to be drinking Argentinian mate during this video, so I want you to be relaxed and to feel relaxed as well, because this is going to be a very chatty video, very chill, very like you're sitting with friends, catching up and just sharing what's up with your life. So let's get started. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Flor and I post new videos here on YouTube talking about life in New York City, talking about the things that I love, like books, and sharing the behind the scenes of being a full-time content creator. If you like any of this, of course, hit the subscribe button down below, hit the notification bell so you get notified of every new time I upload a new video every single week. Now, as the title suggests, and as I've mentioned in the intro, I am going to be doing a Q&A, a questions and answers video, and this is going to be pregnancy related. If you have been following me for a while, you know I have already done two videos before. One was during my second trimester, where I talked mostly about the first trimester and some things about the future as well. Then I did one in the third trimester, and now I'm already past the fourth trimester because Julia has already turned 5 months, but I'm definitely like post-pregnancy, so postpartum, and I want to do this like one last pregnancy Q&A. I don't think I'm gonna be filming anymore, I think, but one last one to answer the questions that I still had like pending from the other two, and to kind of like give like a closure to this series. And nope, I'm not pregnant again, just in case, but I did want to answer some of your burning questions that I didn't get to in my last two previous videos. So with this little introduction out of the way, let's get started with the first question. So the first question that I'm going to answer, and one that I got quite a lot, was if Oreo behaved differently with me while I was pregnant, and if I had a feeling that she knew what was going on and that I was pregnant. So this is like hard in a way because, well, you know, dogs and pets, you kind of like try to guess how they're feeling. You never like truly know if they're happy or sad or worried. They can give you signs, but they don't speak as of right now. So you never like really know what's going on in their minds. So I will speak for Oreo, but if Oreo at some point in the future wants to like chime in and say something different, I'll give her the floor in the video and the channel. So I feel like Oreo maybe knew something was going on, but I think she never really knew that I was pregnant. I have heard and read of dogs that are really aware of their owners being pregnant, some of them even realizing someone is pregnant before the actual person knows. And in the case of Oreo, I don't feel like she really knew that someone was like growing in my belly when I was like really tired during the first trimester, and then at the end of my pregnancy, she really liked napping with me and sometimes like sleeping on my belly. But I don't really think she was aware of what was going on with me, but more that she liked having someone to nap with her. She loves napping during the day, and I wouldn't say I hate napping, but it's not something that I like. I'm this very crazy person that it's like has to be productive every single minute of every single day, which I know is like a toxic trait, but it's just the way I am. And I haven't actually like taken naps like before being pregnant since I was like, I don't know, 10 years old or something. And I was really tired, and I was napping, I wouldn't say quite a lot, but very more than usual, which the usual is like 0. And she loved having someone laying there on the couch with her, or going for like a nap in the bedroom like during the day. So I feel like she liked that, but she didn't know what was going on, which is okay. I mean, she didn't have to know. But yeah, that's like the first question that was asked a lot. Another one of the questions that I got, and that I keep on getting right now as well, is if I changed something about my skincare routine while I was pregnant. So I feel like the biggest change in my routine, and the one I feel like most women do when they learn they're pregnant, is that you cannot use retinol in your routine while you're pregnant. I'm not a dermatologist or a skincare specialist in any way or form, but I really do love skincare. I love reading about ingredients, about formulas, and the thing about retinol is that it gets into your body and into your blood, and it has been tied in the past to some malformations in babies. So that's why it's like the main ingredient that you are not allowed or not advised to use while you're pregnant. Retinol is amazing, as you probably know if you have used it at some point in the past. For me, it's probably the only ingredient that I use and I see the results like this. Like I use it and then overnight when I wake up the next morning, it's like I feel like I have less wrinkles or that my skin is looking better. While other ingredients, it's like you keep on using them every day and of course they're doing their thing, but it's not as drastic. And yeah, I haven't been using retinol for over a year now because you cannot use it when you're breastfeeding either, so I cannot use it right now. But I would say that was like the main change that I did in my routine, just checking that none of the serums, which is where this ingredient is found the most, and none of them had retinol. But then I kind of like try to keep on going with my normal and regular routine. In fact, the last skincare routine video that I posted, that will be linked up here right now, I was actually pregnant when I filmed that one. No one knew. I think at that point it was just my husband and I that knew that I was pregnant, and I didn't want to disclose anything, of course, because it was still very early. But I filmed that while being pregnant and my skincare routine looked pretty normal, pretty routine like. So I would say you can follow that, but of course check with your doctors, check with your dermatologist, that's for sure. But yeah, mainly avoiding retinol. I had a kind of some breakouts while I was pregnant, so I was trying to like take care of my skin, like using patches or like drying products, and mostly like trying to keep my skin hydrated, trying to use other products that really help your skin, like hyaluronic acid or vitamin C or niacinamide. I never know how to pronounce that, but you know what I mean. So try to use other great actives or other great ingredients in my skincare that were not, of course, retinol. But if you are in doubt, you can always check the website for the brand that you're using products. They usually say if it's pregnancy safe, and you can always bring the products to your doctor, to your dermatologist, and they will be the person that knows, not me, not probably any other YouTuber, unless that's their skill. So basically that was like the biggest change in my skincare routine, and something that still persists until now, but we're gonna have like a big party when I'm able to use retinol again. I can guarantee you that. Another question that I got was related to checkups, medical checkups during pregnancy, and whether or not they were more or less than the ones you have if you're pregnant in Europe or if you're pregnant in Argentina. Let me start by saying that I have only been pregnant once that I know of, and that was in the US. So unfortunately, I do not have the experience of having been pregnant in several countries where I could or would be able to tell you how it differs. I know that some people maybe have had kids in one country and then in another, so they know. But when this question was posted, I reached out to all of you through my stories, and I was asking, can you share a bit about like your pregnancy and the medical checkups you had, and whether or not you think they were a lot or not as many? And I feel like in general, they are about the same almost everywhere. So I actually wrote down some notes while I was pregnant because I knew I would probably forget about all these doctor's appointments by the time I actually want to share them with anyone. So what I did have was, first of all, there is one doctor's appointment. This one was at 8 weeks. This one is an ultrasound to check for fetal activity and for heart rate, and to determine if this pregnancy is viable and if you're carrying 1 or 2 babies. So you may or may not know this, but actually 1 in 4 pregnancies end in a loss during the first trimester, meaning that you might get a positive result in your pregnancy test, but by the time you go to the scan, there's either no movement or there is no heart rate. So that means that you had a pregnancy loss and you were not aware of, or that you maybe had a false positive. Again, I'm not a doctor, I'm trying to share what I read and what I know. So this first appointment is really important in terms of knowing whether or not you're like actually pregnant and whether or not this pregnancy can move forward and if it's healthy and it's okay to do so. Then I also had another appointment at 12 weeks. That one was to measure something in the baby's neck, because that can help you to see if your baby might have some malformations or something like that. But the thing about this test is that they're still doing it, but I know that they won't be doing it in the future, because I'm not gonna say it's a hard test or not a hard test because I'm not a doctor, but it's something that the results are not as accurate as they would be if you're taking a blood test. So since a blood test can replace this ultrasound and can be more accurate and the results be more certain, I know that this one is going to disappear. So for now, I would say the one at 8 weeks about fetal heart rate and movement and viability, that is like the first like main doctor's appointment. Then the second like big doctor's appointment, that one is at 20 weeks. At 20 weeks, you have a long, like an hour-long appointment. You have an ultrasound. This one is to measure everything in your baby. By 20 weeks, you're halfway in your pregnancy. So they measure everything: their heart, their lungs, their kidneys, their brain, their spine. Like they look at everything. They measure everything to see if the baby is growing according to plan, if they're healthy, if everything's okay, if they see anything weird, anything that catches their attention. So this one for me was like I don't know if the most stressful one, but the one I feared the most, because I knew it was very, very important and I didn't want to share the news before having this appointment, because I don't know, at least for me it was like kind of a big deal and a big moment. So that is like the second like big appointment that you have. And then you have, I think, another ultrasound at around, I didn't write this one down, but I think it was around 30 weeks or so. And once you enter like the last few weeks of your pregnancy, you start going more often for ultrasounds, where they check the movement of the baby, whether or not they're breech, if they have turned and stuff. So overall, and from what I've heard from people, again, from Argentina and from people in Europe, I think you have pretty much the same amount of appointments. I think a difference that I've heard is that, at least in Spain, most people mention that you do not see your doctor, but you see, I'm trying to find the right word in English for this, but I'm gonna write it here because I can't remember right now. So it's like a bit different, but I think you have like roughly the same amount of appointments that you have in Argentina. I'm not going to do like an experiment and go have babies in other countries, but I'd say I feel like it's something that happens everywhere in the world and doctors know what they're doing. So don't worry if you have more or less appointments. It also depends on your age. For example, I was not 35 when I had Julia, so I was considered like a younger pregnancy versus like an older pregnancy. If by the time your baby's born you have already turned 35 years old, yours is considered like an older pregnancy and you have more appointments, more ultrasounds, more everything. So I would say that if you're curious, I hope this little like recap helped you. But if you're not curious but you're like maybe more like worried because you're going through a pregnancy and thinking, oh, I don't have as many controls, as many appointments as some other people have. First of all, know that I felt the same way. There are like weeks and weeks where I didn't have an appointment and I was really worried because maybe your baby's not moving yet, and yeah, you get scared, it's normal. So know that you're not alone. But also I would say just speak with your doctor. When I was worried and I did not have appointments for like many weeks, I reached out to my doctor and saying like, I'm worried, I don't know what's going on. And she was really reassuring, and she told me that if I was not experiencing like any bleeding or spotting, or if I was like not feeling sick in any way, and it was okay, and that most like healthy pregnancies are just very like normal, regular, nothing going on, and then you deliver your baby safely and that's it. So that not having as many appointments as other people should not get me like worked up and worried, even though I was. So yeah, know that it's normal, it's okay. Your doctors are the one that know what's best for you, what's best for your baby. And if you're just curious, I hope this like recap helped. Question number 4 is one that I also got a lot, and I know that a lot of people are curious about this. And the question is how expensive it is to bring a baby into the world in the US. So I would start by saying that I think bringing a baby into the world in any country is expensive in many ways. For the sake of this question and what this person asked, we are going to be talking about like medical expenses and actually delivering a baby and all the like previous medical appointments that you have. And I would say that yes, it is expensive, but what I wanted to say is this: in any country, going to doctor's appointments and you have like 8 or 10 during your whole pregnancy and then delivering your baby, either a vaginal delivery or a C-section, that is expensive. The question is, who's paying for that, you know? So in some countries where you have free healthcare, the government pays for that and the people, through their taxes, fund the government so the government can spend their money in paying doctors for these appointments. And then in some other countries like the US, some things are covered and there's like a percentage that's covered, but mostly you pay for your medical appointments and your medical issues in a way. So it is expensive, but I think it is the same in any country. The thing is that here in the US, you see like the invoice with the items and with the hours and with how much a doctor charged for seeing you or for an ultrasound. Whereas in some other countries that you maybe have free healthcare, you don't know how much that person actually got paid or how much money they're invoiced to the hospital or eventually to the government that pays for those bills. If you're interested, I do have like a summary of the whole amount that we paid for the pregnancy and for the delivery. I don't know if that is of interest, like I have full amounts, and I could like speak more about this and about like numbers. It might be interesting, it might be boring, it might be, I don't know, you tell me. But in general, I would say yes, like as anything related to medicine in the US, unfortunately, is expensive. And although there's Medicare, which allows a lot of people with low wages and like a low income to access medical care, it's still very, very expensive and still, yeah, very hard in that way to bring a baby into the world. So yeah, I think this question and my answer got very political. I think it would be ideal, of course, for every single country in the world to have free healthcare access. Unfortunately, that is not the case. I am one that's, if it were for me, taxes would have to be as high as necessary for everyone to have free access to healthcare. It should not be tied to your job like it is here in the US, and people that earn more money should be paying more taxes. So yeah, I think it's like a big discussion. I don't want to be or get very political, but yeah, it's very sad in general, I think, how medicine is handled here in the US, and the fact that a lot of times it's like really for profit, and the fact that people without a job, people that are unemployed, or people that have a job that's not like properly registered or anything, have a hard time getting access to medical care. That's awful. Yeah, hoping that that will get better with time and with changes and with the right people in charge. And the last question that I wanted to answer, and that I think it's like a great question to like close this pregnancy chapter and this pregnancy Q&A series, this part 3, is one that a lot of you sent over this past few months, and it's how was your pregnancy in general? Like at the time you sent it, how is your pregnancy? But I'm going to word it like, how was your pregnancy and how were you doing? And I feel like I had a pretty like normal pregnancy, I would say. A pretty normal, regular. That's Julie in the back. A pretty normal, regular, like run-of-the-mill healthy pregnancy. Really thankful for that, because I know it's not everyone's case. I was really nauseous, really tired in the first trimester, which is the usual. I was feeling more energetic and more like myself during the second trimester, which is also the usual. And then again, I was feeling like kind of heavy and kind of tired again in the third trimester. So overall, I would say pretty normal, healthy pregnancy. So by the end of your pregnancy, like third trimester, you have to take a glucose test, and I did pretty well in that one. I never had like high glucose levels, which is something very normal in your pregnancy. I would say in general, like no complications in terms of like pregnancy, no high like blood sugar, no high anything. The only thing that I had maybe that was, again, not uncommon, but I would like point out, was like I was very, very nauseous during the first trimester. Like at one point I was like throwing up multiple times in a day and almost thinking about going into like an emergency room to have like an IV and fluids because I was not able to even like keep water down. But I got medication and it got a lot better very fast, thankfully. And the other thing was that during the final like stages of my pregnancy, my iron levels were like kind of low, which is normal because it's like your baby is like taking your iron and it's not inside you and your body, but instead it's like going straight to your baby. So that's normal, and I had to take iron supplements during like the last few weeks of my pregnancy. But again, it was something that I had to take, same with the nausea medication. But it's not uncommon, like the doctor is like, yep, you have nausea, you take this. Yep, you have like low iron levels, you take this. It's not that they were like, oh, we need to do like a new study or nothing like that. Very normal, very common. Doesn't happen for everybody, of course, but it can happen. Same with having, for example, like high blood sugar levels. It didn't happen to me, but it happens to a lot of pregnant women, so that's normal. I'm trying to think, but I think it was pretty nice, pretty normal, healthy overall, which was the most important thing. I know a lot of people crazy love being pregnant, and some other people kind of hate being pregnant. I think for me it was something in between, which is in a way how I take a lot of things in life. I was okay being pregnant. I was like amazed about what the human body and mammals in general can do, like growing another being inside you. It's like mind-blowing. But I mean, I was like not crazy in love with being pregnant because it is uncomfortable. Like at times, especially in your third trimester, you like baby is basically taking up all the space that your organs usually have, so it's pretty uncomfortable. But I know some people hate it because they hate being pregnant. That was not my case. I think I was like in between, like it's okay. I'm glad that my body was healthy enough to go through a pregnancy, go through a delivery, to be able to have a baby this way. And I had the usual struggles that most pregnant women have, the usual stages where you're like feeling great that most women have. So overall, pretty normal, ordinary, regular, healthy pregnancy. Thumbs up for that. And that is the end. That brings us to the end of this Q&A, this chatty Q&A. I drank some of my mate. It's good. Actually, it's good. Not all mates are good. Some of them are great, some of them not as great. Anyways, hope you like this video. Hope you like this chatty Q&A. Hope you drank some coffee, some tea, something. Let me know in the comments what you were drinking while watching this video. Let me know if there are any extra questions that you have. I said that this is like my last pregnancy Q&A video, but if there are more questions, happy to film another one. I will be filming some other videos like pregnancy and baby related. I want to do like a pregnancy essentials video, like items that I bought that for me were crucial during my pregnancy. I want to do another one about the apps that I used while I was pregnant and that helped me get through my pregnancy in many ways. I want to do another one about baby essentials, like the things that we bought for Julia and that I think were the most helpful and the most useful. And I want to do something more that I can't remember right now. But if you have like any ideas or questions or anything, requests on those topics, definitely leave them down below in the comments. Happy to reply to your comments, happy to film some other videos, happy to answer more questions. I know I put a sticker in my stories a few days ago about like pregnancy baby questions. You sent some of the ones that I'm answering in today's video, but also some other and different and new ones. So I'm definitely going to be filming more Q&As, but maybe they're going to be like baby Q&As or something like that instead of like pregnancy ones. TBD. But for now, I would say this is part 3, last Q&A about my pregnancy, about this pregnancy with Julia, my 2022 pregnancy. If you want to see the other Q&As, they will be linked up here right now and also down below in the description box. And as always, thank you for watching. Thank you if you're subscribed to the channel. If you're not, hit the subscribe button down below. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Leave a comment, of course. And if you're pregnant, hope everything's going great. Hope everything's going healthy. Hope you have a safe delivery when the time comes. And if not, hope you're having a great day as well. I will see you on the next one. Bye!